There's this great quote by the poet Rumi who said, "What you seek is seeking you." And it got me thinking about how we all have this inner strength within us. Sometimes we don't even realize that that strength is there. But when we go through challenges in our life, or we get knocked down and face adversity, then that strength starts to emerge. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. How do you find your inner strength? How do you tap into it? How do you know it's there? How can you start to lean on it more? So here are 5 things to help you on your journey of discovering your inner strength. The first thing I want to talk to you about is this idea that strength comes from vulnerability. You might be saying, what does that mean? Let me explain. If you think about those times when you felt really strong in your life, you'll notice that often that strength came out of a moment of vulnerability. For example, if somebody was bullying you when you were younger, instead of just letting them win and letting them bully you, you stood up for yourself. That moment of standing up for yourself, that was a moment of vulnerability. You could have just let the person walk over you and continue to bully you and make you feel bad about yourself. But you decided in that moment of vulnerability to stand up for yourself. That took strength. Maybe you had to break up with somebody who you loved but knew wasn't right for you. That was a vulnerable moment because you had to face the fact that you were unwilling to settle and you wanted something better. That takes strength. Maybe you had to go after your dream and take a risk. Put yourself out there and be in a position where you could fail. That's a very vulnerable place to be because it means exposing yourself. Showing people what you can do and putting yourself in a position where they could potentially judge you and say that you failed. It takes a lot of strength to do that. We tend to think that vulnerability is weakness, but in actuality it's the opposite. It's where strength is born. When we're able to embrace our vulnerability, that's when we're able to access that strength within us. The second thing that I want to talk to you about today is that strength doesn't mean being loud. It doesn't mean being aggressive. It doesn't mean being dominant. In fact, most of the time the strongest people that I know are actually very quiet, but their strength comes from their resilience, kindness, their ability to keep going and stay true to themselves despite the challenges that they face. You might be thinking, okay, great. I understand that strength comes from vulnerability, and it's not about being loud and being aggressive, but how do I find that strength within me? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about 3 obstacles that you've faced in your life so far, 3 challenges that you've overcome. These could be big challenges. These could be small challenges. They could be recent challenges. They could be challenges that happened years ago. It doesn't matter. Think of 3 challenges that you've faced and you've overcome in your life so far. And once you've identified those 3 challenges, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions about each of those challenges. First question, how did that challenge make you feel at the time? Really connect in with how that challenge made you feel. Did it make you feel afraid? Did it make you feel sad? Did it make you feel angry? Did it make you feel overwhelmed and stressed? Really connect in with those emotions and let yourself feel those emotions as you remember that time. The second question that I want you to ask yourself is, why didn't you just give up at that time? Why did you choose to keep going? What was it about you that made you decide not to give up? And the third question I want you to ask yourself is, what did you learn from that experience? What did that challenge teach you about yourself, about the world, about other people, about anything? Really spend some time reflecting on these 3 questions and write down the answers to these 3 questions for every single one of those 3 challenges that you thought of. And when you do that exercise, when you sit down and you reflect on those times when you've been strong, you'll start to see patterns emerging. You'll start to see common themes emerging. You'll start to see characteristics of your personality emerging. And that's when you'll start to identify your inner strength. Think about it. When you look at somebody who's an athlete, you don't just look at their physical body and their muscular body. You also look at their mental fortitude. You look at their ability to push themselves beyond their limits. You look at their resilience and their toughness. Mental toughness is just as important, if not more important, than physical toughness when it comes to being a good athlete. And it's the same way with our inner strength. We need to develop that mental muscle. We need to strengthen that part of ourselves so that when we face challenges in our lives, we know that we have the strength within us to overcome them. When you ask those questions about those 3 challenges that you faced and you overcame in your life so far, you'll start to see that strength emerging. You'll start to see what it is that makes you, you, and that's your inner strength. I want you to think about a time when you felt really proud of yourself, really happy with yourself. Maybe it was a time when you helped somebody else, when you achieved a goal, when you accomplish something that you've been wanting to accomplish for a long time. Really connect in with that feeling of pride, that feeling of accomplishment. Hold on to that feeling. Don't let go of that feeling. Feel that pride. Feel that accomplishment, because that's the feeling that you want to associate with facing challenges and overcoming challenges. When you feel that pride and that accomplishment, that's when you know that you're strong. That's when you know that you have the ability to overcome anything that life throws your way. If you liked this video and you found it helpful, I would love it if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I share a lot of videos on personal growth, self-development, confidence building, leadership skills, communication skills. I think you'll find a lot of helpful videos on my channel, so I would love it if you could subscribe and join our amazing community. If you haven't already, I would love it if you could check out my website. You can download tons of free resources there. You can also sign up to become a confidence coach with me. You can check out my coaching programs and my online courses. I have a bunch of free videos there too. Lots of helpful stuff on my website. So I would love it if you could check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it helpful. And I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful day.